It's often the area that God wants to use in your life that the enemy will make it his number one role to actually disqualify and cut that down. So I remember hearing of a girl who was so beautiful, and she wanted to do modeling, but the enemy attacked her in the area of her beauty, and she ended up feeling just really ugly. And it was like, why is it that someone who is particularly beautiful feels so ugly, and the rest of us just feel whatever, normal? But it's like the one thing that she particularly shone in, she actually felt the opposite, and it was actually a complete lie. I think the enemy sometimes makes it his mission to take away that very gift that God's given us, or to cut us off at the knees. And there's a story of a guy called Moses in the Bible, and God wanted him to approach this really nasty guy called Pharaoh, who was making slaves out of all of Moses' people, all the Israelites. And God wanted him to stand up and speak up for their freedom. And Moses said, I couldn't possibly do it. I'm slow of speech. Maybe he was a stutterer or something like that, but he was slow of speech. And God used him as the mouthpiece. Sometimes it's like when we are weak, that is an area or an opportunity for God to be strong. But sometimes we can disqualify ourselves simply because we don't qualify ourselves, but God does. And it's in that weakness that God can actually use us. And it's like, if there's something there that God has put in your heart, maybe there's a seed, maybe there's a little bit of a desire, but you feel inadequate, or you feel like you don't measure up, or you're not as good as your peers. But you know what? Maybe if that little heart's desire is there, maybe that's a God desire. Maybe God's put something in your heart. And maybe the enemy has discouraged you. Maybe it's not actually true. Maybe God has a purpose and a plan for you in that area, and maybe you need to step out and do it. And I personally have struggled in the area of my speaking, in the sense that when I was growing up as a child, I would tell a story and my father would say, "Spit it out." And I would pause, and I would get more nervous, and it would make it really even harder to actually get the words out. And as an adult, it's taken me years to sort of process that, but it made it super hard to actually do what I'm doing today, which is speaking to you right now. And today I speak to thousands of people across different social media platforms, but I could never have imagined doing that back then, when what I believed was what the enemy wanted me to believe, was that I couldn't speak. But you know what? God might have put a seed in you, just like he did in me, and he needs you to step out and do it, despite what the enemy might have been whispering in your ear.